Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and we're working with nHair, and this is the Introduction to nHair Part 2. So we've got our simulation. Let's go ahead and play it real quick. Let me go back to the beginning here. There we go. So this is what we got so far. Seems a little thin. Let's go ahead and fix all that. We got some areas that need to be we need to pay attention to here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you the Artisan Tool and how to paint in hair, how to delete hair, how to trim hair, and how to extend hair. So that's going to be our next part. So what you have to do is you have to click on the actual geometry, not the hair system, the geometry. That's what's controlling it. So hold down the space bar, go to nHair, go to Paint Hair Follicles, and click on the option box. And you're going to get the Artisan Tool that you're probably used to seeing, the brush tool, the radius and the opacity and the value and all that stuff. We've seen this before. If you've painted weights, if you've used any type of other Artisan Tool, then you know this looks familiar. So we're going to leave it as default, and if you see my attributes a little different than what you're seeing, it could be the scale of your object. Right, so the next thing is Paint Hair Follicle settings, and we can extend hairs, we can trim hairs. We're not going to edit follicle attributes, and we're not going to create passive follicles. We're just going to kind of focus on create follicles, delete follicles, trim, and extend. Right, let's go ahead and start with create follicles. Now you might have some different numbers here. They're probably around 20 or something like that. So what you want to do is you want to turn the density up a little higher than what we started with. Otherwise you're just going to end up with the same amount. So let's bring it up to like 35. And let's bring the points per hair to 10. Okay, click enter. Another thing you have to think about is, what is your hair length? Now it started at 2, but I remembered that we started with 5 with the length. I want to keep that. So to add hair, I'm going to go ahead and start painting, and you can see that now we're able to add the hair on parts that we want. Now if it's adding too much hair for you and slowing down your system too much, then what you have to do is bring that down. So I'm going to go Control Z back. Okay, and then we can bring that down a little bit. Let's say maybe 30. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and paint in those areas that need to have a little more hair. So just do that real quick. And if you have a pretty robust system, you can probably go a lot more than what I'm doing. We could probably start at 35 or even 40, depending on what kind of a machine you have. Now, doing more will slow you down. So I think that looks pretty good. I think I got most of it. I'm going to be able to get on there. Okay, so that looks a lot better. And so if I want to delete follicles, I just go to delete follicles and go ahead and do the same thing, and you can see how fast that is. Now let me Control Z back, and let's see what the amount or the value makes a difference. And it doesn't. It's going to take them all out, whether you've got it at 1 or not. It will take them out. Let's talk about opacity then. Let's go bring that down a little bit, and the same thing. It just doesn't matter where your opacity is either. So when you're painting, make sure you hold the B key down. You can change the size of the brush. And maybe you don't want to take so much out so fast, so you have to be really careful with that. I'm going to do Control Z back because I want that. But that's how you can do your delete follicles. And then with your trim hairs, we can go in here and you can trim. Let's bring that up so I get my brush up a little bit more. There we go. So I'm gonna need to change this value and bring it down a little bit like that. You can see that it's trimming. So I'm gonna Control Z back again, and I'm gonna bring that about halfway. There we go, so I don't trim so much. Now you can see I'm just kind of trimming those down a little bit. Okay, not all the way down to the nubs or anything, but you can see that's kind of trimming that, and it makes a huge difference. And then I can do my simulation, of course, to see what it looks like. And so far so good. Yeah. You can rotate around there. Depends on how fast your computer is. Now if you rotate around while it's trying to simulate and it crashes, don't blame me. Just remember, it will crash. You have to be careful. Alright, so and then you can extend hair. So I trimmed the hairs, now I can extend hair. Same kind of thing. We're going to have to play with the value a little bit to find out how you can extend them. So there we go. Now I got it up to 1, all the way up to 1. I'm going to go ahead and extend those back up. And it should give me a length of 5 again. So I'm just going to go over the parts that I had already. Now it won't make them, the long hairs, longer because the longest it'll be is 5. Now you could bring that up and do longer. Let's bring that back down again. See if I can get those a little bit longer than what I've got. There we go. It remembers the ones that I've actually shortened and trimmed. Okay. Okay. They're all going to be at 5, so it doesn't matter what the length is here. I'm going to keep it at 5 here. Here we go. And so we hit the create follicles, delete follicles, trim hairs, and extend hairs. So you got a lot you can do with this, with the trimming, and of course there's other ways of trimming and grooming your hair, but this is just one quick way if you need to get things done pretty quickly. I'll go ahead and simulate. There we go. And so what we got so far. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So far so good. Okay, in the next video we're going to talk about hair clumps and how to use them. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you save your work.